Okay, great. Welcome, guests and friends. This meeting of online presenters is beginning right now. Guests, please note that in order to become a member of this club, you must be either a current or a former active Toastmasters International member and have completed at least 6 official speeches. That is very important. Now, if you've got substantial presentation experience, you can apply for membership after you demonstrate your ability using a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered right here in the club. All requests for membership are subject to approval by the members of our club. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and the role, if any, you're playing tonight. To simply do that, all you have to do is really easy. Just click on your face, right? Click on your face and you'll come to an area where it says rename. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world, so we are a professional organization and we ask that you please be aware of all language and word usage that might be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. So please note that we are recording the meeting. Your video and audio contribution may be included in our club marketing purposes. When you are not speaking, we do ask that you keep your mic silent. And with that, I will call to the virtual stage our Vice President of Education, Andy Burns.
Thank you very much. Let me go on to my, okay. So at this point, we are going to do first the member induction ceremony. And I'm going to have Sarah, actually, I'm going to have Mary Ann, who is VP of Membership, lead us through the induction ceremony for 3 new members to our club.
We only have 2 of them present here. I don't believe Bhavani has joined us.
But we had voted on all 3 by mail, right?
I know, but they have to like accept the rules, like the way it's worded. So
okay. So
can you share? Give me share screen abilities, please.
I gave everybody the share capabilities.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Try it again. You got it?
I do.
Okay. So we're ready to rock and roll.
We are. Why, good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Mary Ann Grady, and I am the Vice President of Membership for Online Presenters. Tonight, we have a very exciting thing happening. We are accepting new members into our fold. So, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, on behalf of Online Presenters, it is my duty and privilege to induct the following members into our club. That is Maggie Lou and Joni Laidlaw. Both have been voted in by our members, and we did have to reach quorums, and we did that. So thank you everybody for participating in the vote. And this is an important occasion both for these individuals and for our club. As experienced speakers and Toastmasters, these individuals will enrich us as we strive to enrich them. In a spirit of sharing and enjoyment, together we expand our effectiveness as dynamic leaders, presenters, and communicators. New members, please wait until I call on you individually to affirm your commitment to the Toastmaster promise. And what I'll be doing now is here's the complete Toastmaster promise, but I am going to give you a paraphrased version of that. So please listen, and at the end, I'll call your name and you should unmute and say, I do.
Just before you go on any further, Mary Ann, Bhavani has now arrived.
Bhavani, we're doing new member induction, and I'm happy to let you know that the members did say yes and want to have you as a member of our club. So currently we're doing the induction ceremony. So follow along, and when it's time, please unmute yourself and say you do. I'm reading the Toastmaster promise.
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to figure out the videos.
Okay. In the presence of fellow online presenters, do you pledge to attend meetings regularly and prepare for each assignment, to actively participate in club activities, to evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner, to build open, friendly relationships and with our fellow members, and
Yes.
to bring other new members into the club so they can gain the benefits of Toastmaster? Maggie, please unmute and say, I do.
I do.
Okay. Joni, please unmute and say, I do.
I do.
Bhavani, please unmute and say, I do.
I do.
To the current members of Online Presenters, I remind you of your pledge to support these new members in their quest for self-development, to provide them with positive, helpful evaluations, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, and to make their Online Presenters Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. Congratulations, new members, and welcome to Online Presenters. Everybody, please unmute and give them a big round of applause.
Congratulations.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thank
Now,
you.
I'll be sending you the application if you haven't given it to me already. And please reach out to me if you have any questions, but welcome everybody. Happy to have you. Back to you. Nick, I guess back to, right? Or Andy, I'm not sure.
Andy.
Yeah, I'm technically the presiding officer because Lou is not here, and
Got
the
it.
VP is second in command. Any event, we have a wonderful program in front of us today, and we are all looking forward to seeing that and see the enhancement that the club will have by our new members. So, without further delay, I want to introduce you to the Toastmaster of the day, which is Sarah Idenhan. So, Sarah, go right ahead and take over the stage.
Thank you, Andrew, and good evening, online presenters. Love your life. That's our theme for this evening. And the word of the day is fascinating. And fascinating is an adjective, meaning capable of holding the attention or pleasing to the eye or the mind, especially through beauty or charm. An example would be, it was the most fascinating thing he's ever discussed. Or she travels the world meeting fascinating people. When we think of love your life, I was reading an online article the other day, and I just kind of gleaned 5 things from the article about love your life. Although it gave plenty more, I only chose 5. And the first one, it says, look on the sunny side. We've had just enormous catastrophes over the past 2 years, and we've had a lot of ups and downs. But to love your life, try to look on the sunny side. And that means look for the silver lining. I know it's not easy, and it's not something that you can do, everybody can do, but we can just try to look on the sunny side. The next thing is live in the moment. Sometimes we get carried away with thinking about the past or worrying about the future. But if we try to live in the moment, that means that we just enjoy the present. Get all the little nuggets that we can from the present. Let go of the regrets. Make amends, and just try to learn from the past or learn from the failures. The next is be your own best friend. Sometimes we're more friendly to other people than we are to ourselves. But let's give ourselves the benefit of a doubt. Say, okay, that wasn't so good, but give yourself a chance to do it again and to try again. No harsh comparison between yourself and others. Number 4 was make every day special. Go ahead and drag out that special china and use it today. You don't have to wait for guests. Use your special china. Or you take that drink of champagne. Or go ahead and wear your special jewelry. And take those special clubs with you every time you golf. Don't wait till when you golf with somebody important. Take them with you every time. And the final thing is fill your time with things that matter. Sometimes we do a lot of things and stay busy all day long. At the end of the day, we don't know what matters. But less of doing the should do's and more of identifying what really matters to us and make room for those valuable things. We have a lot of people here to help us through the meeting tonight. We have the all counter. So please, Antoinette, tell us what you will be doing in the meeting tonight.
Okay. Toastmasters Sarah and all my fellow Toastmasters, I will be the counter for this meeting. Of course, I will be listening out for any unusual sounds like ash, oh, ooh, or in cases of unusually long pauses. And when I am called to give a report, I would gladly do so. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Sarah.
Thank you. And next we'll have our grammarian, Joni. Please tell us how you will be helping out in the meeting tonight.
Thank you. As your grammarian, my apologies, I had our counter. It's been one of those days. Fascinating to say that though I am under the weather, I do live by the Toastmasters promise that if we do say we're gonna show up, we do, even if not at 100% or in battery mode. What I will be doing today, however, is monitoring language uses. I'll be giving suggestions on how we can improve our language uses. And the second part of my role, which I've already hinted to, is that I will be fascinated by the use of the word fascination. And I will be fascinated to see how we will utilize that word as we go through the meeting. I will give a report when called upon to do so.
Thank you, Joni. Next is our watcher, Dr. Karen Hall.
Good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. So the role of the watcher is to look at how each speaker, each member optimize our visual space. And so I will be giving a report at the end and looking at we have some amazing, fascinating backdrops, and I'll report on that at the end. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. And we have our chat monitor, Rosina Duncanson. Please welcome
Hello,
Rosina.
everybody. I am your chat monitor for this evening, and my role today is to keep an eye on the chat, to look out for interesting conversations, to help to respond to the chat, and just be able to take note of what's happening in the background. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Next is our vote counter. Please welcome Deborah Carr.
Well, easy peasy. This is what I get to do. I get to count the votes, and we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, so just send them to me. Just keep me in mind, and I'm gonna do things like this at the when it's time to send votes. I'll also put it in the chat.
Thank you. And our timer is Adrian. Please welcome Adrian.
Hi, everybody. I will be your timer today. Your backgrounds will look like this: green, yellow, and red. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the
Thank
day.
you for all of our helpers tonight. And we have a special tip of the day. And please welcome, let's see who has the tip of the day.
I do.
Okay, please, the tip of the day.
I'm gonna move myself into the tipster mode. Thank you, Toastmaster, for the day. Today's tip.
With Snagit, quickly capture your screen, edit your capture, then share it. Let's see how it works. One of the most common uses of Snagit is to take a capture, make a couple edits, then copy and paste it into an email or other communication tool. But there's so much more Snagit can do. Snagit is made up of two parts: the capture window and the Snagit editor. The capture window is where you select how you would like to record what is on your screen. Choose between the Image tab to capture still images, the Video tab to record a video of your screen and webcam, or the All-in-One tab that allows you to switch between all capture methods. Once you've selected the tab that works best for you, click the Capture button. Use the crosshairs to select a window, full screen, or click and drag to select a region of your screen. Click the camera icon to take a snapshot of your selected region. To capture a scrolling window, choose the panoramic option. Or choose the video camera icon, then record button to start recording in 3, 2, 1. Once you've captured your image or video, it will appear in the Snagit editor. Explore the many tools. Draw attention to parts of your capture with tools like callouts. Choose the style, then add it to your image. Use the selection tool to mock up an image. Move objects around or delete them. Add steps to help visually guide someone through a process. Remove unwanted sections with the cutout tool. Create a theme with colors, fonts, and turn shadows off or on. Apply the theme to tools like arrows. Redact sensitive information with the Simplify tool. Make quick edits to the video you've captured of your screen. Then turn it into a GIF you can share. Create a video to share information with your team from the images you've captured. Quickly create a how-to guide with your captures. Choose your favorite layout and add your text. Now you're ready to share. A quick way to share your image is to click the Copy All button, then paste it in a message, document, or other communication tool. Or click and drag the image to share it. Click Share to send captures directly from Snagit to frequently used share destinations. Want to learn more about what you can do with Snagit? Check out our tutorial page, and thanks for watching.
There are 3 things I want to share with you about this video on Snagit. First, you have the library. So everything that you're capturing, most computers, whether it be a Mac or a Wintel, has the ability to capture something on your screen, and then that's it. You usually paste it into a document. The thing about Snagit is it has a library, a continuously running library. So things that you're capturing, you can put in that library and then repurpose it later on. So that's one true value. The other is you can create individual videos from the work that you're doing. So you can reuse those videos as well. Lastly, and using it in the purpose of Toastmaster, you can create manuals or short notes giving people how to step by step by step, and you can use the Snagit program to say, this is your first step, this is your second step, this is your third step, and lead people by the hand through the documentation. And I think that's really valuable as well. It takes the place of many other programs that are out there. For example, there's a lot been said about Loom. It replaces Loom for what you can do for individual recording. And those are the points I wanted to make about Snagit, because I think everybody would use it in the course of their normal workday, and in Toastmasters, they would use it as well. I know that I use it all day long, and I find it very valuable. So that's my tech tip of the day. Go look at Snagit. The initial looking of it is free. So take a look and see how you could use it in your life. Go ahead, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Andy. Now, I would just like to ask, at what point are we going to have elections? Where in the program are we putting elections? Is it at the end, or Nick?
The
Andy?
election club officers, we're going to do that. Let me see. We can do that before the first speaker if you would like. You can turn over the floor to Nick Lacani, who is our extraordinary past president, and he can do the session on the elections for the officers.
Thank you. At this time, please welcome Nick Lacani for our elections.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Let's go with our club elections. put me on a timer and tell me when we've got to 15 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be really quick. Everybody's here. We're going to have some fun with this. Now, what I'm going to do is I've got something to put into the chat, which I am about to do right now. And also, I'm going to actually give you lots of information. So rather than actually take notes of this, I've put the main information into the chat right now for you. So I'm going to start reading from my script, and let's go with this. So these candidates were announced by the nominating committee as having agreed to serve, if elected, in the following offices: President, Andrew Byrne; VP Education, David Carr; VP Membership, Kim Leeming; VP Public Relations, Dr. Kyrene Hall; Secretary, Natasha Van Ellison; Treasurer, Sarah Edahan; and Sergeant-at-Arms, Carolina Ramirez. I'm now going to announce each role in turn, and I'm going to ask 3 times for any nominations from the floor. You'll have to shout out, "I cannot see anybody in the room at present." If there are no nominations from the floor, we will forego the secret ballot for the role and instruct our secretary to cast a single vote. Therefore, for the president role, for the office of president, the nominating committee has nominated Andrew Byrne. I say once, are there any further nominations from the floor? I say twice, are there any further nominations from the floor? I say thrice, are there any further nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. Without objection, since there is only one candidate for the office of president, we will forego the secret ballot and instruct the secretary to cast a single vote on behalf of the club for Andrew Byrne. Congratulations, Andrew. Now, for the next office of Vice President of Education, the nominating committee has nominated David Carr. I say once, are there any further nominations from the floor? I say twice, are there any further nominations from the floor? I say thrice, are there any further nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. Without objection, since there is only one candidate for the office of VP Education, we will forego the secret ballot and instruct the secretary to cast a single vote on behalf of the club for David Carr. Congratulations, David. For the office of Vice President Membership, the nominating committee has nominated Kim Leeming. I say once, are there any further nominations from the floor? I say twice, are there any further nominations from the floor? I say thrice, are there any further nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. Without objection, since there is only one candidate for the office of VP membership, we will forego the secret ballot and instruct the secretary to cast a single vote on behalf of the club for Kim Leeming. Congratulations, Kim. For the office of Vice President of Public Relations, the nominating committee has nominated Dr. Kyrene Hall. I say once, are there any further nominations from the floor? I say twice, are there any further nominations from the floor? I say thrice, are there any further nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. Without objection, since there is only one candidate for the office of VP Public Relations, we will forego the secret ballot and instruct the secretary to cast a single vote on behalf of the club for Dr. Kyrene Hall. Congratulations, Kyrene. For the office of secretary, the nominating committee has nominated Natasha Van Ellison. I say once. Are there any further nominations from the floor? I say twice. Are there any further nominations from the floor? I say thrice. Are there any further nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. Without objection, since there is only one candidate for the office of secretary, we will forego the secret ballot and instruct the current secretary to cast a single vote on behalf of the club for Natasha Van Ellison. Congratulations, Natasha. For the office of treasurer, the nominating committee has nominated Sarah Ederhan. I say once. Are there any further nominations from the floor? I say twice. Are there any further nominations from the floor? I say thrice. Are there any further nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. Without objection, since there is only one candidate for the office of treasurer, we will forego the secret ballot and instruct the secretary to cast a single vote on behalf of the club for Sarah Ederhan. Congratulations, Sarah. For the office of Sergeant at Arms, the nominating committee has nominated Carolina Ramirez. I say once. Are there any further nominations from the floor? I say twice. Are there any further nominations from the floor? I say thrice. Are there any further nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. Without objection, since there is only one candidate for the office of Sergeant at Arms, we will forego the secret ballot and instruct the secretary to cast a single vote on behalf of the club for Carolina Ramirez. Congratulations to our new executive board. Please unmute yourself. Give them a big round of applause. Well done. It's fabulous that you've stepped up, and good luck in all that you do.
Congratulations to the new board.
Good luck, everybody.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you for taking the role.
And congratulations.
And a fascinating way to run an election.
Thank you, Graham, I think.
I just wanted to get fascinating in.
Yes, I'll look it up in dictionary.com. Thank you very much, Graham. Thank you. Back over to you for the Toastmaster of the day and our new treasurer. Please give it up for Sarah Ederhan.
Thank you, Nick. So I know everybody's excited about the speeches that we have coming forward. You know, our meetings are in three parts. We have the prepared speeches, we have the table topics, and we also have evaluations of those speeches. Tonight, our first speaker is Angela. And so Angela Heath. Angela will be speaking from level 4 of the presentation mastery, managing a difficult audience. The title of her speech is The Authority Triangle, True and False Thought Leadership. Angela is presenting a speech where she has to manage difficult audience members. Let her know how she did in the virtual space. Please help me welcome Angela Heath.
Before we start, I wanted to let the timer know that the speech can go up to 15 minutes. So 13 is green, 14 is yellow, and 15 is red. Adrian. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, we have a problem, not just in the United States, we got a problem all over the world. We've got a problem in business, and we've got a problem, period. And that is thought leadership and business authority. Now, back in the old days, as my son tells me, I frequently talk about, it was really clear to us who our thought leaders were. But these days, I'm going to show you, it's not that obvious. And in fact, I think in many ways, that the thought leaders of today, that the people who have captured thought leadership today, are they
I have a
really
question.
thought
Why
leaders?
I don't think there are any thought leaders. Everybody have a thought, then we are all leaders.
You know what? You are absolutely correct. We all are leaders, Lee-Sing. Thank you for bringing that up. Now, there is a difference between having an opinion and having an informed opinion. So let me get into the presentation a little bit more, and I'll tell you traditionally what we thought about as thought leaders. And I think you'll agree that it's changed. It has definitely changed. So when we think about thought leaders, you might think about somebody like Tony Robbins. If you've heard of Tony Robbins, put a Y in chat. Anybody heard of Tony Robbins? He's thought to be America's #1 coach. And he goes all over the world helping people tap into the greatness within themselves. And then you might think of someone like Elon Musk. Now, he's known for a few things. He created PayPal, Tesla, one of my favorite cars, and now SpaceX. So he's someone in his industry that has definitely made an impact. Most people around the world would agree that these folks are called thought leaders, that they're authorities in their industry. But let's take a closer look at some other folks. Our previous president, whether you agree with his thoughts or not, you can't take it away from him. He's been a thought leader, both in media as well as in real estate, and then continues to be a thought leader in politics. So let's explore what exactly am I talking about?
Angela,
Now,
excuse me just
Sure.
a moment, but I hate to interrupt, but we're running kind of short on time, and I was wondering maybe if you could talk a little faster, or maybe get to your point a little bit quicker. I know we've got other people that need to speak and other people that
Jim,
want to
I
speak.
appreciate that, and I am so aware of the time. I am right with you. I am keeping my eye on the time, but thank you for that reminder. And I am keeping my eye on that timer. But it's important, Jim, for us to at least look at what traditionally has been thought of as thought leadership within an industry. Now, if you think about a pyramid, everything sort of moves up, right? And we are all headed, we all want to be headed toward having some kind of industry impact, if our goal is to have authority and thought leadership within business. But let's take a look at what that really means.
Hey,
So this is
Angela, I gotta stop you for a moment here.
Okay, Rick.
And this is really fascinating to me, but you know, your slide is almost illegible. I can't make it out. What is on that slide? Can you tell me what those words are? They look like ants to me. I can't make them out at all.
Thank you so much. Let me make that larger for you. Is that better?
That still looks like Sanskrit to me.
Okay, let me walk you through it. I'll walk you through it. So at the base of the pyramid is something called B. So I believe, and traditionally we have believed, that thought leaders are people who have something in their core. They have something in their core that they are, and out of who they are, the truth of who they are, they become subject matter experts. That's the next rung up. A subject matter expert is someone who does something. They have become an expert in what they do. And because they are something and they can do something, thought leaders begin to speak something. Now, the way they speak about an industry is different. They're not saying the exact same things as all other industry leaders are saying. They're saying something unique, something different. And then out of being able to speak, whether it's books or podcasts or briefings, they begin to teach. They teach us tactics, strategies, principles, things that are very important within an industry. Now, all of this leads up to thought leadership when they can replicate, when they have a proven, repeatable system that anybody who follows it can end up at the same place they are at. So you think about those thought leaders that we talked about earlier, they have systems, they have companies where they have done these systems, and the systems really come from who they are. Now, there's another thing called counterfeit authority. And this is what we see far too often today. We find that with counterfeit authority, people are thought leaders because they say something, they're advertising, they're promoting. You know, we are listening to what they say, but it's actually coming out of their efforts to earn income. And when we hire them for what they can do, what we find is that they don't live up to the promise. Even when they teach something, since they aren't truly a thought leader, what they teach does not replicate results. And it's turned on its head because it means that these people are not truly being who they are. Now, you find this a lot today. Has anybody found that you'll find people who have literally millions of followers, millions, and they don't really have any substance? If you've seen that, put a Y in chat. Am I the only one who sees this? There are people who claim to be thought leaders. Thank you, Natalia, Andy, Rick, all of you, pretty much everybody has seen that. And it makes me wonder what is going on. As I said, it's not only in the US, it's all over the world. Why is it that certain people have so much influence on us when they are fake and they are phony? Let me give you two examples of fake thought leaders that pretty much everybody can remember. Bernie Madoff, you guys remember him? Bernie Madoff absconded with millions, if not billions of dollars. He caused many old people to go bankrupt in their retirement because he had fake Ponzi schemes. But he was a thought leader of his time. Some of you in the room may have even followed his advice. But his financial advice left a lot of people in ruin. Some of you have heard of this group. It was called Milli Vanilli. These were these guys who were taking the music industry by storm. They were fake authorities in their industry because, listen, everybody loved their music. They had the look, they were handsome men. But one time when they gave a concert, in case you don't know them, guess what happened? They were lip syncing. They couldn't sing at all. They were fake thought leaders. And so, unfortunately, fellow Toastmasters, I think we've got too much of that going on in society today. It really does sadden me. And when I talk to young people about it, they kind of don't see it my way. My son and his friends told me this is an old-fashioned thing, Mom. And I said, no, it's fraud, son. And they said, no, it isn't. Because expressing ideas and demonstrating authority and content marketing and social media is done by everybody these days. Everybody has an idea. One person said that to us initially. Everybody has an idea. And there are these influencers who can influence buyers by promoting them on social media, and they can literally generate millions in a minute. Have any of you guys heard of these thought leaders? Anybody heard of these guys? I hadn't heard of them either. But listen to this. This guy, his name is Deepak. He is a thought leader. He has 108 million people following him. The Kids Diner Show, they have 73 million people following them. Now, he talks about crazy stuff on TV. He just shows clips of things on TV and gives his own opinion. The kids show is actually a great show. I actually like it. I looked at a couple episodes, but it's a little cute little girl doing cute little things, but she's a thought leader. But this is what my son tells me. That old stuff, Mom, you're talking about, people being truthful and being who they are and being subject matter experts and saying something, writing books and teaching and replicating. He says, Mom, that doesn't work these days. My son tells me it's all about the Benjamins. So I ask you, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests and friends, what do you consider a thought leader to be? Are you anywhere like me, shocked, amazed at who we follow? Or are you in agreement with some of the millennials I debate with? It's all about the money. It's your decision. But for me, I'm still old-fashioned. I believe you should be something, be able to do something, and out of that, speak something, teach others, and replicate desirable results. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Angela. Fascinating presentation. Our next speaker is Pamela Benjamin. Pamela is speaking from the leadership level 2 of the, dynamic leadership level 2, learning your style. Her topic is my communication style. We all have different communication styles, and Pamela will talk about her communication style in this project. Please help me welcome Pamela Benjamin.
My communication style. I've given this speech several different times, and I've analyzed my different traits. This time, when I took the survey from Toastmasters, I tried to think about a few key parts of my communication style and how it affects me every single day when I talk to people, whether it's in my tutoring business or whether it's with my Toastmasters friends. How do I communicate with others? And how do other people see me? That's really important information to have, isn't it? Because we all don't have the same communication style. If we did, communication wouldn't be a challenge. We wouldn't need to work on it as much. After I took the test, this is what I was shown. These are the attributes of my communication style. I like a big picture. I skip to the end, and I'm out of the box thinker. Big picture, skip to the end, out of the box thinker. Those are some of the major attributes that my survey said about me. After having a discussion with a friend of mine this afternoon, I thought to myself, well, if that doesn't really that doesn't really explain a lot of different parts on how I communicate. That really gives me insight. Big picture. Is it wrong to talk about the big picture first? Isn't that a big, beautiful picture? See, when I start on a project, if I'm talking with someone, I get my point of reference, my compass, from looking at the entire project. I do that with my running. I do that with my triathlon projects. I don't, if you think about one small piece of it, you're going to get swallowed up in it. It's because there's so many different moving parts. If I think about a specific race, I'm able to plan my way back. Now, sometimes I'm doing that and I'm not where I need to be. So if I put a point in the future and say, I'm going to do this on such and such a day, then I go into some of my athletic preparation software and I put the date of that. And then I take all the fitness projects, all the fitness workouts that I need to do, and then it works backwards. So I have about 30 weeks to prepare for an event. That might sound like a lot, but it's a very short amount of time. And if we think about the different parts of our life and we're planning for, if we have a really big picture idea of where we want to go, it gives us a really clear idea what we need to do. And to me, that really helps me achieve things that I haven't done before. The next attribute it said was out of the box. Out of the box, that is a phrase when you think of things differently than other people. What might an out of the box idea be? Join an online Toastmasters group that's not in a district. This group is a bit out of the box, which is why I like it so much. Another part of my out of the box communication and planning really lines up with my strategic planning. One of the projects I'm looking for this summer, because of the heat, and I know I talk about the heat in the opening all the time, but it really does get hot here. One of the projects I'm looking at has become a fad in the last several years. Many runners have told me about it, and I thought they were a bit crazy. But now I'm starting to think out of the box about summer running in Texas. Now you say, what could that possibly be? Very avid runners have what they call night trail running. And they do it at the state parks and they have big groups. And I've looked at it for the last couple of years and I thought it was absolutely crazy. But if you're going to be ready for fall races, you need to get miles in. And if it's 90, it's in the 90s to 100s, it's not possible to do that during the day. So I signed up today. I signed up for my first night running project. It's going to be in June. And it's going to be cool. It's going to be a cool 80 degrees. That would be an out of the box idea. Probably not something most people are interested. And I'm sure that just my telling you about it is shocking. And you're thinking, I'm going to want you to come with me. No. Well, maybe. Do you want to? No? Okay. Let's go to the next point. I won't ask you to come to my project. The next point is, I think with the end in mind. That goes along with the big picture thinking, doesn't it? And the out of the box. You have to figure out where you're going to be on a certain day. And when you do that, it helps you plan. If you're talking to someone who doesn't have a big picture idea in their mind, who hasn't really thought about your out of the box idea, or finishing with the end in mind, they get a little confused or just maybe frustrated. Specifically, the opposite of my type of communicator is someone who likes to think very linear. A, B, C, D, very structured way of processing. I find that my challenges are with people who want a very structured approach. And I don't know how to take an out of the box idea and put it into a programmed methodology to help everyone understand. So these different traits have really enlightened me. I saw this online today with the different attributes. Intuitive communicators is what they said I was. Intuitive communicators are unemotional and free form. I'm not sure I'm totally unemotional, but I think much more logically and much more creatively about a situation. They're also bottom line communicators. They get to the point. Bottom line communicators that get to the point. I was told that today, that I am a bottom line communicator and I tend to get to the point. I'm not sure that that's always a good idea. But if I'm talking to someone who's very linear, A, B, C, D, they don't know how they get to the end point. But see, neither do I. The journey is in the mission. I like these two quotes that help explain it from my perspective and how I communicate. Intuition isn't the enemy, but the ally of reason. Faith requires following the promise of a whisper. So if you're communicating with someone that you don't quite understand and they seem a little wacky, well, maybe you're looking at a different picture. Or maybe the person you're communicating with needs to get better at sharing their picture and explaining and creating a better narrative for everyone on what it will look like when we all get to that point. This has been my communication style. I hope you enjoyed my journey, and I hope that I am easier to communicate with. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Fascinating insights into your communication style. At this point, we're going to call on our Table Topics Master, David Carr. Oh, first, ask the timer for the reports of the speakers' times.
We have one person that qualified, Angela. Her time was 13 minutes, 25 seconds. And Pamela was 8 minutes, 40 seconds. She disqualified.
Okay. Well, I guess you still send your votes to Deborah Carr. I guess on that. Please welcome David Carr.
All right. Thank you very much, Sarah. So Graham mentioned in the chat that a certain TV Vulcan from the 1960s used to raise an eyebrow and use the word fascinating a lot. So in honor of that, I'm doing about warp 7 in my background, off to somewhere or other. I want to ask one of you, what is it that you find fascinating about being a member of an online Toastmasters club? Deborah Carr.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was looking for votes.
What is it that you find fascinating about being a member of an online Toastmasters club?
More than anything, just off the cuff, the changes that go on each week with all the different personalities. I love seeing all of that. It's just fascinating to me. I love seeing the cultural mix. I love seeing the changes in the dialogue and how we just bring all these different pieces of this puzzle right back and form this beautiful picture each week. That's what I find fascinating about this club.
Okay. Thank you, Deborah. You know, over the past couple of years, a lot of people have gotten their introduction to the Toastmasters experience through an online meeting, whether it was officially an online club or it was a club that just happened to be meeting online at that particular moment. What are they missing out on, though, if they have never had the experience of doing Toastmasters in person? Graham Cairns.
Mr. Topics Master, many of you will know that I am in fact an evangelist for online clubs. I am a member of multiple online clubs, as well as the member of multiple clubs here in my own home district of 69. And I mentioned that I am a member of clubs in my home district for a specific reason. There are skills that we learn in this environment. There are friends that we make in this environment. There are people that we meet in this environment, which is a wonderful thing. But there's also something to be said for face-to-face. The big gestures that Toastmasters are so noted for can't effectively be made in this little square or rectangular box that we use. Gauging the audience reaction is much more difficult when we're looking at people in a Brady box series of squares rather than being able to see them face to face. And most importantly, the chance to sit and have a cup of coffee or a chat during the break in a 2-hour meeting is something that I must admit I do miss with online clubs. If I only had a choice between online and in-room clubs, I'd probably actually these days stick to online, but there are things about in-room clubs that I quite like, and it's the human contact, most of all, that I do miss in an online experience, and that Toastmasters would miss if they were only members online. Mr. Topics Master.
All right, thank you, Graham. You know, the word fascinating was actually misspelled on our agenda at one point. I had to go in and fix it. And the reason that I was looking at it cross-eyed is I misspell the word fascinating every time I write it in a sentence. I have to go and look it up. Every single time I want to put a T in there because I want it to be related to fasten, like we're nailing down your attention. But there is an S that was missing. Is there a word that you misspell every single time? And why is it difficult for you to remember? Natasha. Did I misspell that? But did I mispronounce that?
No, you
I don't know if I misspelled it, but I think I mispronounced
No, you
it.
did not. You did quite well.
Okay.
I laughed because I had a feeling you'd call on me as I was thinking, what word? Paraphernalia. I'm in a sorority, and believe it or not, that is a word that I often misspell. And thank goodness for the little red lines that go underneath the words when you misspell them. Paraphernalia. So there's an R there. But sometimes I attempt to leave that R out. Does that make sense? So that's the word. That's my word. Paraphernalia.
Okay. Do you want to
I
keep
don't know if
going
I
until you
keep
get to the green
going.
line?
I really don't see the timer.
It's Adrian. I think we forgot to park her in the upper left, but that's okay.
But that is a
Good.
word that it's very long and I don't use it that often. So if you don't use it, you lose it.
All right. You're in the
Back to
green with a little help. In this version of online versus in person, I wanted to stay with that for a minute longer. What is something that is easy to do in an in-person meeting that's very difficult to reproduce online, and why? Calvin.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master. It depends on the person. For me, it's making that personal connection because I'm an expressive person and I like to read the room one person at a time, which helps me to make a personal connection with individuals. by making them feel that I'm speaking directly to them. They get a chance to experience my body language. I get a chance to feed off of their energy and their reactions, which motivates me to want to do even better as far as speaking extemporaneously to them. Because typically when I speak, I'll have an outline. And then after I have developed my outline, the actual content of my speech depends on the reactions from the audience, because their reactions let me know how much information I need to share about a specific topic, how to make a point. It influences my voice inflection. It influences my pace, my pitch, my tone, my language. That in-person connection energizes me and helps me to do a much more effective job in delivering my presentation. In person is best. However, when you're online, there are some tools that you can use. For example, Pam did an excellent job with her presentation. I've noticed that she's made significant improvements in using technology to make that connection with the audience. Kudos to Pam. And I'm learning from Pam and others. David Carr, you, as a matter of fact. Andrew Byrne, I learned something tonight. Bottom line is, there are advantages to both. Back to you, Mr. Topics Master.
All right. Toastmaster of the day, do I have time for one more? Or are we running late?
No, you don't.
Kind of running late right now. So
Okay.
maybe we could.
Let's wrap it up. Let's get a timers report. Okay, Adrienne, I think maybe was having some issues with not being able to talk right now, so she posted it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Deborah was disqualified. Graham was 1 minute, 8 seconds. Natalia, 1 minute. Calvin, 2 minutes.
Okay, very good.
Natasha,
All right.
sorry.
All right, please send your votes to the vote counter. Who tonight? Remind me again. Who's our vote counter?
Deborah Carr.
It's Deborah Carr. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Next, we'll turn it over to Jim Barber. He is our general evaluator. Please welcome Jim.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and my fellow Toastmasters. You're all experienced Toastmasters, so I'm going to cut past the what is an evaluator and why is it important and all that sort of thing. And let's just cut right to our fascinating evaluations. Our first speaker this evening was Angela Heath, who was so rudely interrupted by some hecklers. And evaluating Angela's presentation, we have Andre Smolenko. Take it away, Andre.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. A most welcome guest, most importantly, Angela. What a masterful way to show us, to teach us how to deal with heckling difficult audience. Oh, I'm gonna go step by step through the process that you use. I personally find that fascinating and useful to note. I'm going to mention a few incredibly fascinating things for me that you did really well during the presentation today, then make a few recommendations as well, how your speech could be improved in my view. And then I'm going to wrap it up with conclusion. The first, in my view, and really important thing in heckling with the audience, what you did during the first disruption, you just admitted and said, thank you. What an amazing way to calm down a heckler. Thank you. And move on to what you were saying. Audience engagement, by the way, throughout your presentation was on a high level. We all were drawn in, were trying to type in and follow your story. When a heckler a second time interrupted your presentation, you were firmer than the first time. You did say thank you politely, and then you reminded the second heckler you were in charge. To me, it was plain and very appropriate. What I wanted to do is just press the button, just mute. It would have been easier. At the same time, you masterfully put the heckler on their spot and moved on with your presentation. When you were interrupted rudely, or the third time, as a mom or a grandma, if you like, you decided to help that individual, really walk that individual through the slides that perhaps he genuinely did not understand. I think it shows awareness of the audience and the different levels of heckling. You are an experienced speaker, Angela, I could say that. And it's something that's a really like, in particular, in your presentation, you stood up. You delivered your presentation standing. At the same time, while you were standing, you can probably see on my slide, the top of your head was a bit cut off. If you could stand a bit farther or a bit near, I think that would help as well. The thing number two that I would like to recommend is not very clear wording in some of the slides. Overall, really, really powerful conclusion to your speech. That is not about thoughts triangle. It's not about money. It's about substance. So to me, Angela, great speech, dealing with hecklers in a professional, appropriate manner, just minding a bit of your head. And with this powerful conclusion, I wish you all the best with your next speech. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Andre. Well done. Our second speaker this evening was Pamela Benjamin, and evaluating Pamela's presentation, we have Carolina Ramirez. Carolina, take it away.
Thank you, Jim. The main objective of Pamela's speech today was to learn about different communication styles and identify her primary style and the impact of her style on others, and share this information with us. Angela, we could notice that Pamela, is a very good, very advanced speaker. She has very good command of some tech visual aids to enrich her speeches, very good pitch, very fluent in the speeches, and very interesting all the tools that she uses during her speeches. Some things you may want to work on: time management, and maybe the position in the camera. Sometimes I could see the top of your head a little bit outside the position in the camera. Something to challenge yourself, and something a challenge that all in this club or all as a Toastmaster have, is to connect with the audience. And this project is very challenging on those terms, because you have to talk about yourself and at the same time connect with the audience. And this is very challenging. I would suggest to use some resources, for instance, humor or storytelling, or give some examples about how you solve a problem, something that we could identify with your story, in order to use your examples and the impact that you have on others with your communication style. Something that we could use for in our own life. I would suggest not to do a report about your communication style, but apply as well these insights that you obtained during this exercise, identifying your communication and your primary style, in order to connect with the audience and catch completely the attention. But this is a challenge that all of us have, especially when we have to talk about ourselves. But as I said before, Pamela, you're a very advanced speaker. I love the way you use the tech tools with your visual aids, and congratulations.
Thank you, Carolina. An effective evaluation. Appreciate that. Madam Timer, Adrienne, how did our evaluators do?
For Andy, we have 3 minutes and 16 seconds. And then for Carolina, 2 minutes, 44 seconds.
So both of our evaluators qualify.
Both qualify, yes.
Outstanding. Thank you. Would you please pass your votes for the better evaluator to Deborah Carr? And while you are doing that, I'm going to call on our supporting members of the evaluation team. I ask you, because we are running short on time, to please keep your reports to under 1 minute. And Madam Timer, if you could kind of enforce that if you get the opportunity, I would appreciate it. Our grammarian this evening is Joni Laidlaw. Joni, how did we do?
Thank you, our general evaluator. 1 minute might be a bit difficult unless I speak really, really fast, but I'll try. Speaker number 1, Angela Heath. Yours says that you're old-fashioned, mine says, okay, boomer. I do have to have him pronounce the correction that I have for you, though. Say the name of the YouTuber.
You mean the most popular YouTuber?
Name?
PewDiePie.
PewDiePie, thank you. And for speaker number 2, Pamela Benjamin, I liked when you said this group is a bit out of the box, and that is why I like it so much. I liked programmed methodology, try saying that when you're trying to go fast. The journey is in the mission. For Toastmaster Deborah Carr, I liked when you said off the cuff. And for Toastmaster Graham, an evangelist 4. The word of the day was used 6 times, 4 times by Toastmaster David, once by Toastmaster Deborah, and once by Toastmaster Jim. However, because we started out with it not being used, I did make some reference for where it could be used. Speaker number 1, you had a missed opportunity when you were referring to the Tesla. Teslas fascinate me, or I find them fascinating. Speaker number 2, fad could be replaced by fascinate many, or is a current fascination of, or persons find this fascinating. And you had a second missed opportunity. Most people would be fascinated by. I now return control of the virtual lectern to our general evaluator.
Thank you, Joni. Our watcher this evening was Karen Hall. Karen.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So I'll do my 1 minute really, really fast. So the wonderful thing about an online club is that whether or not we're speaking, we're also, whether or not you're given a keynote speak, you're also communicating. So I want to do some special mention for some of the backgrounds. So that goes to Marianne, Danielle, amazing, Calvin, Kim, and David Carr. Special mention, honor for that. I love the nature themes from Elaine, Natalia, Rick, and Rosina. That was also beautiful. And the blur, I don't know what you have. Jim has like a, was it like a floating cigar? It was the weirdest thing that I saw next to you for a little bit. But Maggie and Antoinette with the blurred background, I think that was fascinating. It just in terms of professionalism, having the blur, I think works very, very well. And sorry, Lucienne, I didn't see you for the nature. I want to just quickly touch on a couple of the speakers. I found Angela, a lot of, on your right, it was quite blurry for some reason and a bit out of focus. I'm not sure if that was the camera. And last but not least, Pamela, a little bit, I would love it if you could shift to the right a little bit. You had a little bit of space and you were behind the slide slightly. Other than that, for everyone, great presentation, whether or not you're speaking or not. Thanks for showing up. Back to you.
Thank you, Karen. Our odd counter this evening was Antoinette Trim. Antoinette, Wizard of Oz, take it away.
Okay, good evening, General Evaluator, as well as my fellow Toastmasters. We are a professional club. None of the speakers had more than 3 filler words. Other people had, for instance, maybe Andrew had 2 Ers. David maybe had about 3 Ers, as the case may be, but generally speaking, we did quite well. And of course, this is a really big, fascinating club. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Antoinette. And finally, our chat monitor this evening was Rosina Duncanson. Rosina.
Thank you so much. What's fascinating is having to go last and having just 30 seconds to get my point across, but I'll go very quickly. The chat was on fire this evening, from the welcome to the congratulations to the nomination committee's report. The word of the day was used throughout the session, and we can tell that persons were engaged. During the presentation of the tips, someone actually gave another tip about the use of paint. And so I know that throughout the chat, persons were engaged in the background. I'm going to end here, but great use of the chat and great use of all of the options that we have in the background. Back to you.
Thank you, Rosina. I appreciate that. And now it's time for my evaluation of the meeting. And since it is now 9 o'clock, which means we should be ending about now, that is going to be my evaluation. It's always impressed me at Online Presenters how much we respect other people's times. And by doing that, by holding a timed meeting. Consequently, I'm going not to do anything on the evaluation beyond that, simply reminding people to be respectful of the schedule. And with that, I return control to our Toastmaster de jour, Sarah.
Thank you, Jim. And at this time, I'm going to turn it back over to our president, our Andy. Andy, who is the officer in charge. Dr. Andy.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And at this point, I wanted to, there was a note that Pam passed to me that asked to mention something about Prezi, and I assume that's about the officers that made a decision about Prezi for the club. Pamela, could you say a word or two?
We had talked about purchasing Prezi. I used Prezi in my presentation, and Andrew, you also used it when he was giving some points during his evaluation. We purchased it. We're on a 14-day free trial, and we will purchase it as a club in 14 days. And our sergeant of arms will be the keeper of the password, and that will be up to them. So I am going to send you the information, and we need to get coordination on the password. But as long as we all save it, I'll save information to our private computers. It's going to work, and we are going to see more of it. And I think, Andy, you can speak about how we're going to do workshops, et cetera, on Prezi. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Pam.
Andy, if I could interrupt for a moment, I got in a hurry and I shot past asking our vote counter to announce the winners.
Yes, go ahead.
Ready? Okay. Our table topics was Calvin. Congratulations, Calvin. Our evaluator was Andre. Congratulations. And our best speaker was Angela. Congratulations, everybody. It was a great meeting.
Thank you all very much. At this point, I'm going
As
to.
Sergeant of Arms, I would love to complete the recording so that we're only a few minutes over and we can continue the conversation after that.
Okay.